Hey everyone, Lead Trainer with StocksToTrade, Tim Bohen here. Today we're going to be talking about volatility and trading volatile markets and a volatile world at the end of the day. And something that I always kind of am surprised by is that volatility gets kind of a bad name. Like you watch CNBC or something, and they'll have their markets in turmoil, specials, and I'm sure you see that. There's like flames on the screen and everything when extremely volatile things happen. And, they're talking about it like it's a bad thing. Now, you got to understand that CNBC, a dying network that like 30,000 people a day watch these days, but they're geared towards people that have a lot of long-term investments. I always kind of joke about your grandma, okay? I love your grandma, by the way. She's a very nice lady. But, grandma, maybe her husband's passed away and she's on a fixed income and she's got some retirement accounts and maybe an IRA and a 401k and some of these things. Like, she hates volatility. She likes to see just her accounts slowly is the key, trickle higher. And she knows that, I've got this nest egg and I don't have to worry about that, which, again, I respect her for that. She's on a fixed income and she doesn't like to see her accounts go up and down big. But as a day trader or a swing trader, without volatility, there's no ability for us to really make any real money. I mean, if the markets move up and down 1% or 1 or 2 a day, where's the opportunity? So first of all, get it out of your head that volatility is a bad thing. Volatility is a great thing. We go long, we go short, we trade cryptos, we trade ETFs. Like, the more volatility there is, the more opportunity there is. So start there. Volatility is a good thing. Don't be scared by that. Now, again, if you're retired and you've got your nest egg, well, that's a different story. But I'm guessing 99% of you on this video are like, hey, I want to make some money in the stock market. So volatility is a good thing. Now, the reason I'm doing this video right now is interesting times. So actually, literally this weekend, there was an attempt on the former president's life. And we're in the fog of war. I'm actually recording this video I think about 12 hours later. So who knows where we're going to be. But I'm guessing tomorrow morning, I'm recording on a Sunday, tomorrow morning, Monday morning, is going to be an extremely volatile market, okay? There's so much that's unknown, what's happening in the world, what's happening in the markets, etc. And listen, flat out, and don't take this the wrong way. Don't take this the wrong way. Last thing I want to do is see anyone get hurt, okay? I would hope that we could just have a peaceful world, but at the end of the day, I see a lot of opportunity going in tomorrow. There's going to be so many stocks that are going to be moving. The overall market is probably going to be very volatile. So I'm really looking forward to Monday morning. And again, please don't take that the wrong way. But the simple fact is that that's how we make money in short-term trading. The bigger the moves, the bigger the pullbacks. We go long the move up, we go short the move down, okay? That creates massive amounts of opportunity. And kind of going back to what I just said, I mean, it is a very volatile world. We've got about 3 different wars going on right now. We've got arguably the hottest political climate that I've ever lived through. I mean, I'm 50 years old. I don't remember a time like this where the country was as divided, but that creates opportunity. And the more you're ready for that, the better you can have the potential to make money. I mean, that's the end of the day. I mean, StocksToTrade, we're a stock market software. This is a stock market channel. If nothing ever moves, then what's the point? So I hate to say get excited, but we're going, especially as we go into the fall, as you kind of get past the summer, I just think that you're going to see more extreme stock moves, 100, 200, 300% runners in a day, massive pullbacks that you can short into. And the point of this video at the end of the day is start studying these patterns. Know how these stocks work, because even though it's the most volatile climate I can recall, we're trading the same patterns we were trading 15 years ago. I mean, think of I got started right before the financial crisis, okay? And if you know your history and your stock market history, you remember the financial crisis, the housing crisis. Watch The Big Short, okay? Great movie talking about this dynamic. And you can kind of learn a lot about the markets from that movie. Great book by Michael Lewis as well. But, this idea that going back to Michael Burry and what he identified, he recognized that there was something here going on that shouldn't be happening and shorted into that and made $1 billion plus, I think, whatever the number is. But great stock market history video. And I think when I was getting started back then, I was 90% short bias, because what you would see back then is that any pop, like there was so much fear in the market back then, any pop would immediately get sold. Like you think of the multi-day moves we see now, that didn't happen back then. You'd see some stock pop 20, 30, 40, 50%, and then you'd look for the exhaustion top, we call it, the parabolic candle. I mean, all things I talk about in a lot of these videos. You'd short in it, you'd risk the reclaim of the high, and invariably all of these stocks would wash out into the close. Now that was over 10 years ago, going on 15 years now, in different market. It was all a fear-based market back then. So you could capitalize on that. You could recognize that everyone, as soon as something popped, they were selling into it, and that selling created the pullback, and you could just wait for the signs and crush it because of that. Now, right now, I mean, literally Friday, every single index, including small cap indexes, all breaking out to all-time highs. So now we're in an extreme greed market. So now you can be very aggressive on the long side, and I'm sure some of you have seen some of these stocks. They pop early in the day, consolidate midday, and then they just rip into the close. They gap the next day, pull back, retest, and run again. KZIA was a great example this week. I mean, that stock was the number one stock 3 straight days, and it's exactly what I told about. It would rip, pull back, base, rip again, ripped in the second day, and is also top watch going into tomorrow. So when you see these high volume moves and the extreme lack of fear, I mean, there's no fear out there right now. Now that might change. I mean, that might change very soon, but right now the bias is on the long side, and we can recognize that there is no fear out there. So what I'm getting at is understand these patterns, study the past. I mean, I'm talking about stuff 15 years ago, and you might be, well, why is that applicable today? So the more of a data set you have, and the more you're in the markets and the more you recognize this, the better you're prepared to capitalize the next time. So going back to that history, I think back to that first 10 years of when I was trading from 06 to 016, it was almost entirely a fear-based market. I was almost entirely short biased. And then late 2015, 2016 into the election, the market completely shifted and went full greed mode. And you can simply look at a chart of the S&P or the NASDAQ or NVIDIA or Tesla, and you can see this represented literally in the stock chart. I mean, stock charts are a history lesson at the end of the day. And you can just see all this last basically 8 years of straight upside. Now, the reason I bring that up is I think we're going into the most volatile 2 years of markets we've seen since the financial crisis. Now, I want you to notice something, also a 10-year cycle, okay? We're basically, I'm talking about 2016, the shift. We're coming up into 2026, and I'm not saying exactly, to the day, but we've had an amazing 10-year bull run, and I think we got 2 years left-ish, okay? I'm not picking the exact day, but as we go into the election, I think you're going to see a parabolic move post-election. You're going to see all the greed, and then probably a year or two after that, you're going to see all these stocks at all-time highs, all of these indexes at all-time high, and you're going to see a lot of fear start coming in. So that's where we're going to flip again. Going back to basically 2006 when I got started and when I was almost exclusively short biased, you're going to see that shift to where people are going to be much more short biased. There's going to be more meat on the bone, as we say, on the short side. Now, the reason I bring this up on this video is I want you to be prepared. Like, you have time to get ready. So the more you study the past, the more you study these patterns, the more you're educated on getting on the short side. Now, maybe you're not placing those trades yet because we're still in parabolic upside mode, but you're ready. Because the last thing I want you to do is be unprepared for this market shift that I really think is coming in, 18 months, 2 years, roughly, okay? And if you're unprepared and all of a sudden the market completely shifts and the pattern shifts and the momentum and the fear and the greed shift, you're now going to be struggling to catch up. And that's what I try and do on all these videos is get you ready for what's coming. The great Wayne Gretzky quote, okay? I want you skating to where the puck is going, not skating to where the puck has been. Like, I look at a lot of these traders to this day, short biased, and they're doing okay, but they're not crushing it like they were from 06 to 016 because they just refuse to adapt. And they want so badly for what used to work to continue to work. They're not skating to where the puck is. And I see them giving up on a lot of opportunity. Now, they still do okay, but I'm like, you could be doing so much better if you got rid of your biases, you recognized that the market is completely shifted years ago, and just capitalize on that. Don't let your biases overweigh what you want to happen, right? Read the room, as they say. React and capitalize on that. So in summary, at the end of the day, don't be scared of volatility. Don't be scared when you hear about all of this or you read about it. Get excited. Now, if you're unprepared, if you don't know the patterns, if you don't know how to recognize momentum and parabolic candles and washouts and some of the jargon that I've thrown into this, study the past. Study these videos. Like, there's hundreds and hundreds of videos on the StocksToTrade YouTube that you can take advantage of. Now, to really take it to the next level, something that I've been doing for years now is daily webinars where every single morning, 8:30 Eastern, we read the room. I mean, the market is constantly changing. I'm sure many of you have seen this. You hear about some 1,000% runner the next day, and you're like, how did I know? How could I have known about that? There are scans we use. There are tools we use. Oracle is a day trading algorithm we use to identify these moves every single day. Like, there are tools out there, so you don't have to hear about this stuff after the fact. Now, the reason I bring that up is I run a stock trading mentorship program called the Daily Income Trader System, where every morning in pre-market, we do exactly that. We recognize what the biggest movers are, what the news is, what the float rotation is, what all of these things are, many jargon points that you might be like, what's he even talking about? And then I do it again in the afternoon. And we look for those stocks. Like, afternoons have been crazy hot lately. This summer, afternoons is where the opportunity is. So when you can recognize that chart pattern that I exactly talked about, this big low float runner with news and hot sector and all these things that consolidates midday, man, those are so predictable. That's that VWAP hold pattern. You've probably seen some videos on the channel that create just explosive moves into the close, and a significant majority of them gap as well. So if you're struggling with the pattern day trader rule, if you're struggling with, being out of day trades, if you know what to look for, tons of these continue into the close, gap the next day, you can sell into the next day, and you don't use your day trades. So the point is, check out the Daily Income Trader System, especially if you're scared of volatility, especially if I drop some jargon in this video where you're like, what was that? What was that? What was that? I teach all of this every single day. And the cool thing about the link below is when you go to that, it's just a live tour of what we do every day. It's 100% free. You're not committing to anything, but you can see the tools, the scans, the methodologies, the patterns, everything we do every day. And you can decide, hey, this is something I want to check out. So click that link, check out that webinar, and I hope to see you in the Daily Income Trader System.